Good morning, everyone. The startup duel promised some fireworks, and fireworks we did see, right? So let's move on with the agenda. I will invite my panelists, fellow panelists here today. So just give me a second, please. So I will invite Chianqi from China. Please come on stage. Miriam from France. Stephanie from Canada. And Maram from Saudi Arabia. Hi. Hello, everyone. Pleasure to have you here with us. So, the topic of our panel, as you all know, is fast-changing digital economy dynamics. I've got 4 experts here. I'll just let you know a little bit more about them. So, Tianqi Han here. He is from China. He's the president of G20 Chinese Young Entrepreneurs Alliance, the China Council. He is also the president of Guiding Star International Trading Limited, which is a company focused on international commodity trading, a lot of metals, and he is also focused on helping foreign companies to land and grow in China. So Han is the Chinese expert for us.
Thank you.
We've got Miriam from France. Hang on. So Miriam wears many hats. She's a proud mother of 2. She's been into banking for many, many years. And now she's got her own startup called Sunji, which is focused on solar energy. And the best part is that she's straddling 2 continents. Part of her work is in Europe and part of her work is in Africa. And she's energizing the solar field in a new manner, right? So that's... you have a lot of support, that's for sure.
Yes, thank you.
Stephanie is from Canada. She's the Chief Strategy Officer at CII Technologies. And so do you have a lot of support. So CII Technologies is a hub for software solutions and design. She leads a team of 23 engineers and designers and helped launch multiple platforms for companies all over North America and Europe. And Stephanie is also a product strategy advisor and UX design consultant for various startups and fintechs. Yeah. On to Maram. Maram Alitsi, she is from Saudi Arabia. She's part of Mossad, which is the authority that deals with small and medium enterprises and their growth in Saudi Arabia. It's the government organization. She's the director of e-commerce there. So Mossad is a catalyst for change and ecosystem builder with over 11 years of experience. So Maram is over 11 years of experience in business, entrepreneurship, and SME development. So that's Maram for us. Yeah. So, yes, so digital economy. The world is changing, and it is changing really quickly. We are all seeing that, especially post-pandemic. It's transforming industries, jobs, and how people buy and connect and interact with each other. The way businesses work are being put upside down completely by the digital technologies. Our behaviors are changing, not just as consumers, but as individuals, as humans. So this panel is going to talk about how to keep up with this fast-changing digital economy. The experts here will talk about all the latest trends, challenges, and opportunities that are coming along with it. So without taking too much time, I will move on to the experts. Chianqi, so we've all seen that China has been at the forefront of the transformation of digital economy. It has been leading from the front. So do tell us about your experiences there in China and what is the current development status of the digital economy there.
Thank you, Shreyan. First of all, I think I hope we can share a few sets of data. From those data, we can give you a basic illustration about the digital economy in China. So first of all, I think people will ask, how big is digital economy in China? By the end of 2022, last year, the scale of China's digital economy reached $7.8 trillion, ranking China steadily as number 2 globally. And I think it's not just we're big, China's big, but also it's growing very fast. Actually, China's scale of digital economy multiplied 5 times in the past 10 years. China was around 1.5 trillion in the year 2012, but now it's close to 8. So it's growing very fast as well. And I want to share a example for you. For example, the mobile payments that we're using very frequently. Last year, the transaction volume of China's mobile payment reached $73 trillion, ranking China as #1 globally. And our internet user reached 1.06 billion people. So I think from those data, we can clearly say that, the digital economy in China is big, it's growing fast, but at the same time, we might wonder, is it balanced? In my opinion, I think yes, because our internet penetration rate in China has reached 75%, but that of the rural area, the internet penetration rate of the rural area also has reached 60%. So it's quite close. And it's not just city and rural comparison, but also different age groups. I think a very interesting thing you will realize in China is that there are a lot of older people are using online payments. Actually, our rate for the online payment for the older people, I mean people age over 60-year-old and above, over 70% of them are using our online payment. So if you visit China, you will see a very interesting thing that, old lady with white hair in her 70s or 80s, when she is doing the payment, she will not count in her cash, but instead she will pull out her cell phone and say to you, "Scan me."
Very interesting. That's very interesting. So I think that brings us on to this point that it's not just the new age businesses or new age people, Gen Z, that is adopting the digital economy, but also the traditional, as you're saying, the older people and the traditional businesses. So, and Miriam, you are working in a very, very traditional industry, energy, power, and you are working to digitize that. So do tell us about that experience. How is that working, and what do you see as the key trends going forward?
Okay, thank you so much for this great panel, because that's really something which is key today in our economy. So let's back first to the definition of digitalization. Digit stands for 1 and 0, so we are more talking about IT. But today, digit is not only infrastructure technology, like it used to be for IT. It's really something that help us, help companies, help people to automate, to manage costs, and also to make things simple. Thanks to AI today, we can also have predictions, optimizations. So digitalization is not only simplifying our life, it's really changing our life. Why? Because we can automate things that we used to do, but we can also create new things and make new things. Back to energies, the way we are helping companies by Senji to move to automatizations for that is really to control remotely the flows of energies. On one hand for the consumptions, and on the other hand with the solar productions. And we can really create the adequation of production, because solar energy is not available all day long, with the consumption. So we help them to save cost and to save energy. And that's the reason why today we definitely have to move to this new challenge for companies, for countries, and for small caps and big caps, but also for residentials. And that's the way today I'm really believing that is not just a transition, it's a real revolution. Because thanks to these new ways of managing remotely your energy, you can have new things to do for that. So we created and we developed an app, for example, where we can have the data collections. We can optimize the way we are going to understand the consumption curves and the consumption load. And then we can, of course, later on, optimize and, for example, remotely control the way we can, for example, open or close the light or the energy loads. So that's really something that should happen in every sector. And energy today, because we have this huge crisis in energy, that's really something that it's unstoppable for companies.
Thank you so much. Stephanie, could you tell us about how small and medium enterprises can harness the power of the digital economy and help to expand and grow their businesses forward?
Yes, no problem. Thank you for that question, and thank you for having me. I think that as a business owner, it's really important to stay aware of trends. I don't think you need to adopt every trend within your business. Like AI, for example, which Miriam touched upon, is something that I think everyone can kind of start to look into and start to incorporate into their day-to-day, just to make processes a little bit faster and simpler for yourself. Like as business owners, you know, there's a lot of administrative work involved, and all of that can be automated pretty easily using programs like ChatGPT-4, for example. Even if you don't want to commit to the paid platform at first, you can start with the free version and use it to help you, draft emails, and things of that nature and messages. But the paid version has some really powerful tools like, I use it a lot for note-taking in meetings. You can actually like transcribe videos, but not just have it, write every word you say. It can actually take common key words and put them together into actual tangible like points and sentences. That way you can, send those off to other people on your team or people that you're connecting with. It's also really valuable for research if you're meeting with like a new potential partner. Often I just will plug in their website and then have it, compile a bunch of notes from the internet, not just their website, and give me actual like tangible points to speak about. So I'm aware of what the company does and how I can best serve them before stepping into a meeting. And then also there's different industry tools that you can use as well, depending on what sector you're in. I personally, my background's in UX design, so how I like to use AI is there's a lot of plugins for ChatGPT and also other tools like Firefly is amazing, like the Adobe AI tool, where you can actually type in different prompts and it'll actually finish images for you. Or use Photoshop to create different images for you, which really helps when mocking up different layouts and also in creating like brand materials and stuff like that. So there's a million plugins that you can explore. So I encourage everyone to just dive into the world of AI a little bit and see how it can help you, because there's very unique tools for different industries and a bunch of different use cases as well.
Thank you. I think all of us have started using it a little bit. ChatGPT certainly is popular. I'm sure some of us used it today. So, Maram, could you tell us about how the government steps in and how can the government help to bridge the digital divide and ensure inclusive growth in a digital environment, especially for the communities that are underserved?
Thank you for that question. Well, the government, I believe, that plays a critical role in enabling and dismantling roadblocks, is increasing ease of doing business and bridging the gap in the digital divide. We at Saudi Arabia and for the SME Authority, since the start, we are keen on developing our infrastructure to ensure digital inclusion and reaching the diversity goals, and to build a resilient, diverse, and globally competitive economy. We've seen the pandemic has shifted consumer behavior. It changed consumer behavior. Now the consumer is more aware. Now the consumer is more digital savvy. So companies need to step up the game, understand more, and understand the needs. The government, as we do in Saudi Arabia, and realizing Vision 2030, in creating and ensuring digitally led economy, we had to step up the game and be innovative ourselves, using emerging technology, using disruptive technology to help SMEs and entrepreneurs establish their businesses with ease, develop them with confidence, manage them successfully, and scale them up nationally and internationally, competitively and professionally as well. So in order to make sure that they are digitally aware, we have several programs that to make sure that we increase the awareness, how digital economy can help them, how can they be part of this digital transformation and adapt and leverage those technologies to help them become more competitive. E-commerce, for example, has shifted, the market rules and have broken the glass ceiling of market entry. But it created competition not only locally but internationally. Now the small seller in Saudi Arabia is competing with a seller in China. So how government can help SMEs, transition? We developed several programs. We had to be innovative ourselves. We have accelerators, incubators, specially designed to help them with the 4 maturity stages. Those are not in e-commerce, those are new to e-commerce, and those are experienced in e-commerce. How we can help each one of them go through this maturity stage successfully.
Thank you. It's some very interesting points, especially I think when you talk about how in order to create a digital infrastructure, the government has to digitize first. So that in itself is a very, I think, insightful statement there. Stephanie and Miriam, could you just again tell us a little bit more about how, as individuals and as business owners, what steps can we take to become towards adopting or digitizing our own businesses first? So what are the ways to go about doing it?
There are actually a lot of government incentives to this, which is really great because the government's looking in at businesses around the world. Like I know in Canada, for example, we have a grant called CDAP, which provides you with a wage subsidy and also a loan to help digitize your business. And that can involve and encompass a bunch of different things, including, creating or leveling up your website, taking a brick and mortar business and making it into an e-commerce business, creating a more heavily focused social platform or marketing strategy to get exposed to more markets and more customers globally. So I would really encourage people to look into those types of programs as well, because you can, first of all, help your business grow, but also receive incentive for that, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, so if the main point, and to really resume that, is that you definitely have to, because if not, you're not going to remain competitive, because you can do more with less thanks to Digit, and we have to create this ecosystem today with that. So selling that if you don't move to digit, then you are really going to lose your market share. But for individuals as well, you are really going to do less. So that's not a question for me. It's not either are you going to go digit or not. So how are you going to go digit?
Yes, absolutely. I think that's a very fair point. Tianki, could you tell us about what's China's plan for the further growth in the digital economy now? What is the opportunity there? I think the whole world is looking at China, so we would like to understand what is the opportunities there.
Thank you, Shreyan. I think, as I mentioned, I think from the data that I presented, I think it's fair to say that China's digital economy is thriving, is big, is growing very fast. At the same time, it helps us to bridge the gap between cities and rural areas, and also bring different age group of people closer together. But I think there are various reasons behind this, and you're asking about what China will do in the future. I think there are a lot of things to do to further improve. One thing I want to particularly emphasize is that we attach great importance to ensure our infrastructure for digital economy is the best. For example, China has built already one of the world's largest fiber and 5G networks. Till May this year, we have built over 2.8 million 5G base stations, and also over 1 billion fiber access to network. So this is incredible work and investment to ensure that everyone who is doing business and living in China can enjoy the best infrastructure. And the second thing I want to emphasize is China's openness. I think we've laid out all the groundwork, all the infrastructure, and we welcome all entrepreneurs from all countries to expand your market share in China. And just like our president repeatedly said, the door of China's openness will only continue to widen. So I think, just in conclusion, I think if you come to China, you will have the opportunity to explore the second largest economy in the world. You will have the potential to convert 1.4 billion people, the second largest population, into your clients. And at the same time, you will enjoy the best infrastructure and support in China. So if you're asking me, where is the opportunity? I think my answer would be very simple: come and do business in China.
Brilliant. So, but I believe earlier during the different conversations, we did realize that with the digitization, the world is getting leveled out very quickly. And I think most countries are starting off from the same point in terms of infrastructure. And so the third world, as we say, in historical terms, they are not so far behind now anymore. So they can leapfrog and catch up. So what are your thoughts on that? On where do you see this heading in terms of the world leveling out and becoming a fairer playing field for everyone? Yeah. Whoever would like to go first on that. Yeah.
So as we said earlier, the world is becoming, more of a small town. It's no barriers now with e-commerce, for example, reaching out. You can buy from anywhere at a click of a button. You don't even have to have a device with your own mobile phone. You can reach smartphone. Somebody in rural areas selling a niche, a product, you can have reach and access consumers for that. So, from a government perspective, SMEs need to be ready for that. We at Saudi Arabia and Saudi Arabia market have increasingly become attractive e-commerce market due to huge economic potential, increasing digital penetration. We have witnessed a growth rate of 32% annual growth in e-commerce, becoming one of the top 10 countries in growth in e-commerce. So, and some seasons, like high seasons, like in last Ramadan, for example, the online shipment has increased 56% from last year. So this means that more sellers are selling online, more SMEs are, leveraging those channels. We have seen just in the past first quarter of 2023, we have seen an increase of 17% in e-commerce commercial record registration around the kingdom. So we are there, we are ready, and we are welcoming SMEs and entrepreneurs and companies, whether it's a startup, innovative entrepreneur who has a startup that can contribute to this thriving ecosystem. Our doors are open and we're welcoming them. And we have several programs that help them in this journey towards opening and selling and leveraging this thriving market.
So I'll say that for us, Spear, something that we do is we come into companies more as consultants often, and we give them advice on how to level up and digitize their business, especially when entering new markets, because now that we're such a global society because of digitization, it's important to recognize countries outside of your own as potential for new business opportunity. That's part of the reason why we're here today, because India, for example, is one of the largest countries in the world with one of the biggest populations. So it's important to see those new markets and explore business there. And part of that for tech companies is understanding the legalities and kind of the red tape involved in that Like for Europe, for example, there's GDPR compliance, and that's something that we deal with really often for North American companies wanting to do business abroad. So that's something that we do is like consult in those matters, and it's important to have those types of connections and understanding what's involved in moving to a new country and expanding there, as well as just setting yourself up for success in terms of looking into how you can make your technology valuable in new markets and for investment. Like patents is another example of something that we do pretty often, is try to structure the technology in a way that can get someone like a provisional patent, and that is obviously very attractive to the global markets and makes your technology look like it's a little bit more impenetrable, for example. And I think that when we're looking at globalization, there's going to be more competition, so that's why it's even more valuable to look into those other avenues.
Please.
So, thank you. So maybe also to sum it up, that's really something that creates solutions. A lot of people are afraid of it, but you can really have great opportunities to that, and that's maybe the words I want to really highlight on that. Because the oldest generation are still facing like big issue. Yeah, we have to create a department, we have to invest in data centers and so on. Okay, so but it's a step you definitely have to go, because again, it's not a problem, it's create a lot of solutions range.
Thank you. I think that's a very, very valid point, that people do carry a sense of fear when it comes to new technologies. There is a sense of reluctance, but at the end, we must make the leap of faith and jump and use the benefits of that. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time on the panel. This is a topic that cannot possibly be covered in 30 minutes, I believe. But yes, we've made a good start here today. We have a couple of minutes if anybody in the audience would like to ask any question. Otherwise, so I don't think we have any questions forthcoming. So I would just like to thank the panelists once again. Thank you so much.
Before our panel leaves the stage, we have some gifts for you. I'd invite Luis from the EU and Ruben from Spain to join us on stage to give away the gifts, and then we'll take some photos. Could we have the gifts out, please? Thank you. Yep. Come around.